So yes, we have actual Starfield news, and you're probably looking at the screen wondering, the gameplay looks a little bit different here. I'll explain that in just a moment. Stay tuned. But yeah, it's actually really cool. But yes, we have some interesting things happening about the next major update for Starfield. Some news there, but also what can we realistically expect for that? We've got to dive into that. Plus, we got to talk about the approach to New Game Plus and what that could possibly mean for DLC. And yes, a brand new, what is called a Starfield community patch. It's a mod, but it brings some really cool changes to Starfield and also fixes some of the most annoying issues about the game. You're going to want to see this one for sure. And we got to talk about Microsoft, Bethesda, and earnings reports, but there's also a strange downside recently as well. All right, but yeah, check this out right here. So yeah, if you've noticed, the gameplay in the background looks a little bit different today. That's because BenQ hooked me up with their new X3100i, the ultimate 4K 4 LED console gaming projector. So I've been playing Starfield, Spider-Man 2, and Lords of the Fallen on this beast of a projector, and let me tell you, the X3100i does not disappoint. Again, this is a 4K projector, and it brings that movie theater type experience to your gaming, but it can also be utilized in a smaller space as well. So yeah, get this, BenQ has been very busy fine-tuning their gaming projectors based on feedback collected from years and years of research, and it shows. This is a true 4K HDR gaming projector with a brightness level of 3,300 ANSI lumens and a contrast ratio of 600,000 to 1 with a dynamic black enhancement. The X3100i offers a wide variety of picture modes to truly take advantage of the audio and visual presentation of whatever game you're playing. So for example, we have a picture profile for role-playing games, which brings forth the cinematic presence of the story in open worlds, perfect for a game like Starfield. Then there's modes for first-person shooters like Call of Duty, sports, and racing, each finely tuned to bring out the best in visuals and audio of the particular genre or game you love. Even more so, you have fast mode and digital zoom. Fast mode is automatically enabled for most game modes, by the way. Now this ensures that audio and video response is instant with commands with an ultra fast 4.2 millisecond input lag at 1080p at 240 Hz, which is fast for fast-paced multiplayer games. Now, yes, you can adjust this to go up to 4K at 60 Hz if you want to, which makes sense for open world games or single player games which don't demand twitch reflexes like Call of Duty, but of course you want that visual fidelity and detail. And digital zoom allows you to essentially shrink the screen size down, which is perfect for a cozy gaming cave. And the new lens shift feature is a lifesaver, by the way, allowing even more options on how you can adjust the viewing angle of your projector. And I love that you can have multiple consoles hooked up to the X3100i, and it will remember your settings for each console seamlessly. It's a total breeze. And as you can see, it's all about ease of use here, and BenQ is nailing it in that regard. So yeah, check out the ultimate 4K 4 LED console gaming projector, the X3100i from BenQ, in the description below. You guys, I'm loving it so far, and you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and continue playing Starfield on the projector right now. So yeah, we got to talk about that next major update for Starfield. Check it out right here. We have some indication as to what is happening. Yes, heading over to Steam database, we have the dev tech and QA staging main have both been updated in the back end of Starfield. Of course, with dev tech, you can expect some performance improvements with the next update. Crossing our fingers that that's actually the case. But QA staging main is going to be the interesting one because, yeah, that's going to be the actual most likely feature updates. And Robbie, what about those feature updates? What can we realistically expect from the future of Starfield in terms of updates to key features? So yeah, we got to talk about what Bethesda has said previously and officially right here. Yes, they did indicate that they do want to actually provide us with a local map for cities. I know it should have been in the game right out of the gates. Trust me, I totally agree with you. And yeah, we've already knocked down the FOV slider, but it's good to note that, yes, we are getting brand new updates to the game, which are no doubt crucial to the quality of life improvements to this game. But it begs the question, what type of quality of life improvements are absolutely imperative? They have to make it into Starfield, at least in your mind. I really hope this next update does tackle the local map issue. That's one big issue, at least for me. I know for a fact when I played Skyrim, When I played any Bethesda title, including Fallout, I always use the local map to get around. It only makes sense. Right now, very much roaming around and essentially otherwise Elden Ringing it, Dark Souling it, as I call it. So, yeah, I mean, it's a different type of playstyle for sure, but it should not be forced onto players whatsoever. Now, we also need to talk about DLC. We do know that we're going to be getting major expansions for Starfield. One is called, of course, Shattered Space. But yeah, someone brought up an absolutely fascinating discussion here. It says Starfield unique approach to New Game Plus makes it perfect for any and every kind of DLC. This one comes from Lemon Pepper, and he goes on to say this: I love Starfield. A lot of people didn't, which is okay, but personally, it's my game of the year so far. So yeah, is it your game of the year? And if it's not, what is your game of the year? Now it says, after 160 hours, the main thing I want, aside from quality of life, performance, polishing, melee combat additions, and a little quad bike to zoom around on planets, is more. More of everything. More alien types, more point of interest, more plants, more ship parts, more weapons, more skills in the trees, more in-depth base building, more quest lines, just more of everything. I think a lot of us agree with that one for sure. But let me tell you what, a little quad bike from like Death Stranding would be amazing in Starfield. Something nearly identical to what was offered in Death Stranding, in my opinion, would just be fantastic. Now, furthermore, he says this: with the way the game is laid out, I was wondering how they would go about adding more everything without interfering with people's playthroughs, like adding a location or new aliens to a planet that the player has already scanned. And then it hit me, New Game Plus. So obviously, I'm sure everyone else realized that on day one, they could make large changes, additions to the whole universe, or even existing quests, looking at you, First Contact, and just have them be a part of the next different universe the Starborn travels to, and they have plenty of space to do it. So this is an interesting discussion for sure when it comes to adding bigger chunks of content through New Game Plus. I think it can be somewhat problematic, although it would be very, very cool. Don't get me wrong, keep expanding New Game Plus, but currently a lot of people are just not interested into diving into New Game Plus because they have to leave a lot of their stuff behind. So that's problem number one. Also, I think Bethesda understands that a lot of people within their own game don't finish the main quest line exactly instantly, that they like to go through their worlds and essentially go from faction quest line to side story and just exploring, and perhaps many people have not actually finished the main quest line yet, and I don't think they want it to be a requirement to enjoy any of their DLC or expansions. With that being said, when it comes to updating New Game Plus, what we do need to see, at least in my opinion, some sort of excuse or way to allow us to carry over all of our stuff so we can keep it in New Game Plus. I know a lot of you are going to be like, wow, that goes against the story, but there needs to be something that they come up with to allow us to do this so that New Game Plus is a feature that a lot of us embrace. So I think that needs to be a change. Now, furthermore, goes on to say this right here: House of Varon suddenly has unique stylized point of interest temples dotted around the outskirts of the galaxy in a whole Varon city on a planet that you explored in previous playthrough. Sure, a planet has different or extra biomes with different creatures than your previous playthrough. Why not? Power temple quests and puzzles are different this time. Makes sense to me. Now, that's pretty cool. When you say like temples change up and things like that in New Game Plus, I can see that being interesting for sure. Now, furthermore, says this: the more mixed reception of Starfield may impact how many DLCs they make and how large they'll be. But as a certified Starfield defender, I feel like there's a great opportunity for Bethesda to do something really special with the DLCs, because with the sheer amount of space in the galaxy and the New Game Plus systems, they could continue adding DLC and content for years and years, even alongside the release of new Bethesda games. Now, I want to pause there and say, yes, Starfield has seen mixed reception, but it is selling extremely well. And I think that means we're going to be getting a good sized expansion at the very least. I really hope we get multiple expansions, to be honest with you, because there's multiple reasons for both Bethesda and Microsoft to do that, actually. And I think it's to really bring life into Game Pass. Microsoft is hyper focused on Game Pass. And what a better way to bring life into Game Pass than to say your biggest selling game ever on, Game Pass is getting new content, So I really do hope that, yes, that encourages Bethesda to really pursue a long term future with Starfield. Even if perhaps they're developing Starfield expansions alongside Elder Scrolls 6, man, that would be a dream come true if they could just get a team that's really hyper focused on continuing Starfield's legacy and future. Now, furthermore, he goes on to say the following. He says this right here. Not exactly live service, but I could even see it being a yearly thing for them to release a DLC with a new quest line and some new additions to the universe. All right, so it says, I really hope they take this opportunity because I can't imagine having to wait 10 plus years after Shattered Space and another 1 or 2 DLCs for more Starfield when the foundation has been laid for them to deliver more for years to come. Yeah, this could be a Cyberpunk scenario as well. You have to consider that Cyberpunk 2077 was supposed to get multiple expansions, 2 at the very least. They sound like, man, they wanted to do more. But of course, this game has been received better, at least in my opinion, than Cyberpunk was ever at its launch. Maybe, just maybe, we'll get 2 expansions. But then again, that Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be very much on the Bethesda dev team's mind for sure. All right, so we got to talk about what's going on with updates for Starfield that you can actually download right now for PC, and that's through the power of modding. Check it out right here. We have the Starfield community patch. I did speak about this in a previous video, and this one actually is a big one because it also addresses issues with space combat and your annoying companions. Check it out right here. Here's some of the stuff that does. It also updates your EM weapon system skill ranks 1 through 5, as you can see right here. You can pause the screen to see all the stuff that has been updated. There's quite a bit here. And yeah, ship combat has been updated to be much smoother. But for companions, this is the key takeaway. It says, will no longer become angry at the player for boarding a hostile ship and attacking the crew. So less complaining from your companions. That's the first step to improve them, but we need official updates from Bethesda to really support this for sure, at least in my opinion. Make them, I guess you would say, less annoying, because they can be annoying. When they start mouthing off to you over simple things, you're like, wow. Please, let me be. All right, next up, yeah, we got to talk about this one right here. Xbox reveals earnings post Starfield, and it's mostly good news. What do they mean by mostly? So let's get into it, shall we? This comes from IGN. It says, in its press release, Microsoft confirmed that Xbox content and services, which include the gaming subscription service Xbox Game Pass, saw a revenue increase of 13% over the last quarter. This follows the release of Starfield, touted as one of the most important releases in Xbox's history, which managed to hit 10 million players in just 3 weeks to become the biggest launch in Bethesda Game Studios history. So yeah, it's been an immense success, and to see this success of Xbox overall attributed to Starfield is saying something. They're starting off on the ground running with Bethesda at a full pace. Of course, this is a marathon, so I'm sure that they are very, very excited and hyped over there with what they can do with Elder Scrolls 6 and Game Pass. So yeah, I really hope, again, that Microsoft really goes all in with hiring the support that Bethesda needs and requires to make Elder Scrolls 6 something truly, truly special. Really supports them. Now, next up, it goes on to say this. It was not all good news for Xbox, as hardware revenue declined by 7%. It was part of an overall decline that saw revenue from Microsoft hardware devices such as Surface tablets dropping some 22%. Ouch. So yeah, when it comes to Xbox itself, I'm just going to say things like Redfall definitely did not help the console for sure. It's not like everyone was saying, man, I've got to get an Xbox Series X because of Redfall. So yes, first party titles, in my personal opinion, have been kind of lackluster on Xbox, and to see Starfield, such a massive smash hit on Xbox, is definitely good news for the platform going forward. All right, so it's time to get into your top comments. Remember, leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video. So this was my most recent video. Starfield did the impossible. Official updates, but there's a big problem. All new updates. So let's get into this one right now. So what did you guys have to say? So we have Vexile, who says, I just want to be able to have massive ships like the Vigilance, maybe backup reactors on ships and vendors with 10 to 100 times more credits. And it would be cool if you could have your own, essentially, battleship where it's full-on battleship warfare between multiple ships, boarding going on. I think that would be something that they need to pursue with a big Starfield update. Will happen. We'll have to wait on Bethesda on that one. Now, we have Randy who says this right here. I've completed New Game Plus, and I have to say that I'm glad I completed it early without having done too much other content and faction missions. Once I complete New Game Plus 10, I'm playing the game in full, and the dialogue options and subtle story changes were fantastic. For a full main story playthrough after New Game Plus 10 and choosing the options to stay in this current universe was very rewarding from a story standpoint. So, yeah, it's good to know that there are those of you that are really enjoying New Game Plus. So, that's cool to see. Now, Dead Drop says this: I hope we can get our hands on the development history of Starfield in the future. That would be awesome to find out what exactly happened with this game through its development process. I imagine that it's been quite hectic. I think that there's simultaneous things going on. I personally think that Starfield, in some ways, is acting as a segue game between Fallout 4 and Elder Scrolls 6 in terms of tech. I personally think that they have been working overtime very quietly with R&D, research and development on Elder Scrolls 6. And yeah, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with that engine, honestly. I think it's going to be surprising to a lot of people. But, Microsoft, they saw something that got them to buy and invest in Bethesda. And I think that something is that brand new update to the creation engine when it comes to Elder Scrolls 6. Now, we also have this one, Chit Chat, who says Starfield is one stop shop. If you pick out a single aspect, you can easily name a game that does it better: dialogue options, space travel, skill trees, quests, etc. But you'd be hard pressed to find a game that does everything exactly like Starfield, just better. Yeah, it's the full package. All right, so there it is. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay in the background. The projector is absolutely amazing. If you want to learn more about BenQ's brand new 4K 4 LED gaming projector, see that link in the description below. Thank you all, and I will see you all next time. Take care.